Support for this podcast comes from the Central Valley Journalism Collaborative, connecting communities with the resources, infrastructure, and networks to ensure a vibrant local free press.
From KVPR in Fresno, this is Central Valley Daily. It's Wednesday, June 4th. I'm Elizabeth Arkalian. Coming up later in the show, a pop-up nightclub in Merced caters to people with disabilities.
I saw a lot of the individuals being taken advantage of, being made fun of. The people just didn't really care about them. And I had said, one day I would like to have a club that they can call their own and be a part of.
A reporter takes us to the venue known as Club 67 in just a few minutes. But first, today's headlines. President Trump is continuing to signal that California could face funding cuts over a competition involving a transgender athlete. Trump first warned last week that the state would lose funding if it allowed a 16-year-old trans female to compete in the track and field finals that took place in Clovis last weekend. But that athlete did compete, and she won 3 medals. A state law allows trans students to compete in sports based on their gender identity. The Federal Department of Justice has asked schools to not comply with that law. A bill advancing in the state legislature would protect schools from losing average daily attendance funding when the reason students are absent is because of federal immigration enforcement activities. Cap Radio's Steve Milne reports.
In California, school districts get a significant portion of funding based on their average daily attendance. Under the Trump administration, immigration enforcement activities have expanded to schools. Delano Democratic Assemblymember Jasmeet Baines' bill would let schools classify immigrant enforcement as valid reasons to seek waivers for absenteeism.
The administration is waging psychological warfare against all immigrants.
She says when parents worry that dropping their kids off at school might result in deportation, they don't go.
Voting no on this bill means you believe our schools should lose funding because our representatives in Washington, D.C. have failed to fix the broken immigration system.
San Diego Republican Assemblymember Carl DeMaio spoke against the measure.
When a member who's elected says that the agents are engaging in, quote, psychological warfare against immigrants, it is outrageous.
The bill passed 48-12 on a party-line vote. It heads next to the Senate. In Sacramento, I'm Steve Milne.
One seemingly insignificant aspect of local elections has the state at odds with Fresno County. Specifically, it's about when the county's sheriff and district attorney should be elected. Rob Parsons with our news partner Fresno Land reports a judge tried to put the matter to rest this week.
For years, elections for Fresno County Sheriff and District Attorney took place during the gubernatorial election cycle. But in 2022, Governor Gavin Newsom signed a new law that moved the elections for most state sheriffs and district attorneys to the presidential cycle. Why? The state wanted these elections to happen when there's higher voter turnout. But voters in Fresno County last year voted to keep the elections during the gubernatorial cycle, which triggered a legal battle with the state. This week, a judge in Fresno County threw out that measure. He said state law preempts it. But local law enforcement officials aren't happy. Moving the elections to the presidential cycle essentially rescheduled the sheriff and DA elections from 2026 to 2028. They say those changes were made without voter approval. It wasn't immediately clear if Fresno County will appeal this ruling. With Fresno Land for KVPR, I'm Rob Parsons.
USDA field offices that were targeted for closure in California will remain open after pushback from Democrats. The backtrack was announced in a letter to Senator Adam Schiff last week by Brooke Rollins, who's Secretary of Agriculture. Offices in Bakersfield and Madera had been on that list. Some of the offices fall under the banner of the Farm Service Agency, which helps growers apply for government loans and grants. Elon Musk's Doge team originally wanted to terminate the office building leases as a cost-saving measure.
Support for Central Valley Daily comes from Body 20 in Fresno's Fig Garden Village, offering full-body electromuscle stimulation training sessions. It's a high-tech, time-efficient way to help preserve and rebuild lean muscle. Each 20-minute one-on-one session is guided by a certified coach using FDA-cleared technology. Body 20 accepts health savings account cards. More information available by searching the Fig Garden location at body20.com.
And now to our main story. After a busy week, we all look forward to the weekend. Maybe you've made plans with friends to grab dinner or watch a movie. Maybe you're just staying home, or perhaps you're hitting up the nightclub scene. Depending where you live in the Valley, your options may vary, but in one city, a completely unique experience is being offered. And on a recent Friday night, this pop-up nightclub in downtown Merced is thumping with music. Inside, lights are flashing. This is Club 67, and it's not your typical nightclub. Brianna Vaccari with our news partner, the Merced Focus, paid a visit and tells us what sets this one apart.
Each month, dozens of people stream into Club 67. They buy raffle tickets, pose in a photo booth, eat pizza, and of course, they dance.
I said Club 67, make some noise!
But the drinks, they're non-alcoholic beers and mocktails. And to get to the food, you have to pass through a, quote, judgment-free zone.
There is free Shirley Temples at the snack bar.
Kevin Decker is a regular here. He describes Club 67 as
healthy, joyous.
He comes here to see his friends and even his family, including his dad.
I like it here a lot. I like years. I have a lot of friends here.
Club 67 takes place not at a dance hall, but at the Merced Senior Center. That's because it caters to disabled adults. Liz Dobbins created the event 2 years ago. When she was younger, she remembers seeing disabled adults being mistreated at nightclubs.
I saw a lot of the individuals being taken advantage of, being made fun of. The people just didn't really care about them. And I had said, one day I would like to have a club that they can call their own and be a part of.
The club is one of many programs she puts on through her nonprofit, the Chance Dobbins Senior Charity.
I have a nonprofit which serves individuals with special needs, helps them with a food pantry, a clothes closet, hygiene, and household items. And then the club is the social part.
Each month at Club 67 has a theme. Last month, it was Cinco de Mayo, and a conga line danced around the room to shake your body.
Like if you ever want to see what pure happiness is, come watch these guys dance.
Krista Stokes brings her daughter Emma to Club 67 every month. The 22-year-old has cerebral palsy and a seizure disorder. Here, she bounces in her wheelchair, waving her arms with the music.
A situation like this gives Emma a chance to come and do something that normal 22-year-old girls are doing all across the world. And now she gets to do it with her own peers and her own friends.
Stokes says the club offers opportunities that many disabled adults like her daughter otherwise would not have.
It gives her one night a month where she's just like everybody else. And that's, as a parent, that's the best thing we can hope for. Sorry. But it makes me incredibly happy for her that she has this opportunity.
Many attendees here are with their families or caregivers, like Lori Pine, who brings her son Matt.
Matt, you tell me if I'm telling her everything, okay?
Matt attends an adult day program in Merced.
This is an evening thing he gets to do with his friends, and it's kind of fun. It's a Friday night after a hard day of work at the program, right?
All right, thank you guys for being here.
The MC is a regular too. Uriah Perez is a local DJ and co-owner of Tag Team Events and Productions.
I do a lot of gigs monthly, but this is one of my favorite ones because if you just look, everybody's having a great time. There's no frowns, unless they don't get picked for a raffle. But
Dobbins partners with local businesses and agencies to host events. One day, she hopes to have her own space.
My dream, my vision for my purpose is to have my own building to where we would have this on a more weekly basis, just like a traditional club.
For now, Club 67 will pop up each month at the Senior Center. The next event is this Friday. The theme is Dancing Through the Decades. With the Merced Focus newsroom for KVPR, I'm Brianna Vaccari.
And Merced Focus reporter Brianna Vaccari joins me now to discuss her story. Hey, Bri.
Hey, Liz.
To start, Bri, I think the natural first question is, how did you hear about Club 67?
So I actually first heard about it months ago. I was attending a town hall meeting set up by the Merced City School District, and it was sort of like a public comment style Q&A, and someone just, stood up and started talking about how great of a service and program it was. And so I thought I would check it out because I had never heard anything quite like it.
And you visited the event, obviously. How many people were there sort of taking advantage of it? Who were they? What was it like?
Yeah, so the event itself ran from 6 to 9, and there were a steady stream of people coming in the entire time. There were dozens of people. I'm sure on some nights it gets close to 100 people. So,
wow.
And it was all adults with disabilities, as well as, some of them had like a family member or a caretaker who came with them as well. And so it was definitely enough people to fill up the dance floor.
And do we know how long this has been going on?
It's been going on for about 2 years now.
Okay. You wrote a web story as well about Club 67 for the Merced Focus, and you explain there that there are mocktails and non-alcoholic drinks at these events so that alcohol doesn't conflict with the attendees' medicine. I thought that was really interesting, and I'm just hoping you can elaborate on other ways this event sort of caters to those with various disabilities.
So Club 67 is actually open to adults with varying degrees of different abilities, and it's set up so that people who can't necessarily go to a regular club or may not want to will feel welcome and invited at this club. So there's face painting, a photo booth, a snack bar, of course the DJ in the club. There's also raffles. So really, the adults with disabilities who attend this club have the opportunity to partake in a lot of kind of extracurricular activities that they may not otherwise get to do.
Yeah, it sounds almost sort of like catered to their interests or sensory type things as well, I would think.
Absolutely, yeah. There are definitely folks, who may go and wear headphones and just kind of like feel the vibrations of the rhythm of the music, or, who will go more for the social aspect as well.
So like a judgment-free zone.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I've heard of other nonprofits and support groups in the Valley for folks with disabilities, but it sounds like this event, this Club 67, is really just dedicated to having fun and socializing. Is that about right?
Yes, that's totally true. So, while these adults who attend the club may go to adult day programs or, different programs like that, this event is really just for them to socialize and have a good time, like you said, in that judgment-free zone.
Yeah, have community. Are there any other events like this here in the Valley that we know about?
There are not. And the organizer of the event, Liz Dobbins, says that she doesn't know of another one really throughout the state. The closest one she knows about is in Tucson, Arizona.
Wow. Okay. Anything else you'd like to add, Bree?
Just that it's a really great event, and I definitely see that it's serving a need with how many people were there and how much they loved it. A lot of people go every month.
That's awesome. Brianna Vaccari with the Merced Focus. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Liz.
And that's today's show. Today's episode was produced by Carrie Klein and KVPR with support from the Central Valley Journalism Collaborative. I'm Elizabeth Arkalian. Find the latest local news anytime at kvpr.org.